If you're someone who loves with your whole heart, but finds that relationships often leave you feeling completely wiped out, then this is for you. Today, we're diving into what it means to be a highly sensitive person, or HSP, in love. We're going to break down why this incredible capacity for connection can sometimes lead to really draining situations, and more importantly, how to find a path to something much, much healthier.
So, let's get right to it. Why does this happen? If you're a sensitive person, you've probably felt this before. That whirlwind romance, that intense connection that somehow, over time, leaves you feeling more anxious than adored and more exhausted than energized. The reason for this isn't some flaw in you, it's actually a feature of the trait itself.
First things first, let's be super clear about this. Being a highly sensitive person is not a disorder. It's a biological trait. It just means your nervous system is wired to process, well, pretty much everything more deeply. Sights, sounds, and especially emotions. The analogy on the screen is perfect. It's like you're experiencing life on a 4K Ultra HD screen. The picture is so much richer, more vibrant, and more detailed, but all that high-def processing, it uses a whole lot more energy.
Now, this whole dynamic often starts with this incredibly powerful, almost magnetic attraction. You know the feeling, right? If you're an HSP who really craves a deep, meaningful connection, certain types of people can feel like you finally found the one. It feels like they're on your wavelength. But this, right here, is where a really critical mistake can happen.
So what do you see? Often, it's someone who seems so confident, so decisive. They come on really strong with this intense charm and focus. You might have heard of this as love bombing. For an HSP, that level of attention can feel amazing, like you're truly being seen. And because your empathy is so high, you often see past the bravado to what looks like a wounded soul underneath, and that just kicks in your desire to understand them, to connect with them, to heal them.
And here's where the HSP's deep processing mind kicks into overdrive. That initial fire hose of attention isn't seen as a potential red flag. Nope, it's interpreted as genuine emotional depth. You start thinking, finally, someone who gets it. And this little thought takes root. You know, if I just try hard enough, if I understand them enough, I can help them heal. Suddenly, their boldness and your calm don't seem like a clash. They feel like a perfect, beautiful balance.
And this, right here, is the crucial misunderstanding. The connection feels deep because it's built on intensity. But intensity and depth are not the same thing. And this mix-up creates a dynamic where one person is constantly pouring energy out and the other one is just taking it. So while your mind is busy trying to make sense of all this intensity and calling it depth, your finely tuned nervous system, your body, starts picking up on different signals. It starts noticing the subtle red flags that something just isn't right.
Because HSPs are naturally wired to see the good in people, you have to learn to focus on patterns, not just their words. First, look at the pace. Is it moving at lightning speed? That's a classic sign. Next, what happens when you have a disagreement? Do they take any responsibility, or do they flip it around, maybe even call you too sensitive? And pay close attention to how they handle small boundaries. A simple request for a night alone. A person who really respects you will honor that, no questions asked.
This really gets to the core of it. Think of it as your neurological intuition. That feeling of being constantly on edge, constantly exhausted. That is not you being too much or too sensitive. It's your nervous system sending you critical data. It's your body recognizing a potential threat way before your conscious mind is ready to accept it. So this brings us to a really painful paradox, right? If all these red flags are popping up and your body is screaming that it's exhausted, why is it so incredibly hard for a deeply empathetic person to just walk away?
Well, it's a really powerful mix of things. HSPs don't just see people for who they are right now, they see their potential. They see the wounded person they could be if they just got enough love. Then there's the self-blame. You overanalyze everything you did thinking, maybe if I just try harder. And because you've poured so much of your heart and soul into this, leaving feels like a catastrophic failure. But maybe the biggest trap of all is your own empathy. You feel their potential pain so deeply that you'd rather endure your own than cause them any.
Okay, this is where we have to draw a very sharp line between healthy empathy and draining codependency. They can look similar, but they're worlds apart. See, empathy is about connecting. You understand how someone feels, but you're still a separate person with your own identity and clear boundaries. Codependency, on the other hand, is driven by fear, usually a fear of being abandoned. Your boundaries get blurry, you start absorbing their emotions as your own, and the end result is always the same. You feel exhausted, anxious, and resentful.
So, how do you break out of this cycle? The way forward is not about pointing fingers or blaming yourself. It's a process of healing that has to start at the most fundamental level there is, your own nervous system.
Think about it. That emotional roller coaster has your nervous system on constant high alert. So the very first step is to just stop the ride. You have to reduce that stimulation. This gives your body a chance to calm down. Then you focus on physical restoration, sleep, quiet walks, anything that makes your body feel safe again. And only after that can you start to reconnect with who you were before the relationship kind of took over your identity.
And this is such a huge shift in thinking. Healing isn't about trying to erase the past or forget them. It's about turning all that analytical energy away from them and pointing it back at yourself. It's about actively remembering who you are. What did you love to do? What music did you listen to? That's where you find yourself again.
All right, so once your system has had a chance to reset, you can start thinking about building something new. But, and this is a big but, this requires a very conscious, very deliberate shift in what you're looking for in a partner and how you show up from day one.
This is literally about retraining your brain. You have to consciously choose to move away from chasing that familiar high of intense, chaotic chemistry and instead prioritize what we call neurological safety. What does that feel like? It's calm. It's consistent. It's being with someone who is already whole and isn't looking for you to fix them. Honestly, it feels less like a fireworks show and a lot more like a warm, steady fireplace, and that is a good thing.
A huge part of this is building what we can call soft boundaries. These aren't aggressive walls. They're just clear, kind statements of your needs. So instead of saying, "You always interrupt me," try, "I feel overwhelmed when I can't finish my thought." And this is a big one. State your need for alone time before you hit your limit. It's not a punishment, it's just you taking care of your own nervous system, which is a non-negotiable for an HSP.
And you know what? This becomes the most effective filter you will ever have. When you start setting these soft boundaries early on, just sit back and watch how the other person reacts. The right person for you won't just tolerate your boundaries. They will genuinely respect them. They'll even be attracted to the self-respect that those boundaries represent. So we'll leave you with this question to really think about. Are you chasing that chaotic, addictive pull of familiar intensity? Or are you ready to seek the quiet, steady strength of genuine neurological safety? Because understanding the difference between those two things, that's the key. That's what allows a highly sensitive person to finally stop being drained by love and to start experiencing the deep, respectful, and truly energizing connection they've deserved all along.